Hey, welcome to Mullen Stock. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications by hitting the bell so you never miss any of our uploads. And also remember that this is not a financial advice video. Today, I want to provide you with an overview of what happened with Mullen. We'll discuss some data points, what the shorts did, and also touch upon the recently released 8K. Before delving into the details, let's get straight to the point. Mullen closed 7.57% higher in after-hours trading today. It's slightly down now, but the volume is quite significant. 70.37 million shares were traded, whereas the average is 51 million. So today was quite a crazy roller coaster. It hit a new 52-week and all-time low of 14.71. Powell had two opportunities to speak today, and most of it was about rallying the broader market, with Mullen also following suit. There wasn't any actual news from Mullen today, but there was an 8K filed after hours. As I've mentioned before, anything filed after hours, especially on a Friday, is usually a red flag. As you can see there, this is what was filed. It seems they've scheduled the annual meeting, I guess for 2024. It's combined with 2023, set for February 29, 2024. There's also a deadline for submitting any proposals on December 21, 2023. So if you want to take any action, you'll need to act relatively fast. Just as a heads up, it goes into detail that a recently released amended 8K form is also part of this. Here it is, and I assume it's the same one. When they talked about it on November 17, what was approved during the previous shareholder meeting will remain the same because it was already approved. So, as I mentioned before, when this news came out, or when the amended 8K was released on November 17, it was a precursor because it was clearly their intention. Other than that, all of this is pretty standard stuff. In this section, they are talking about 5.03, and I feel like they are saying something that I don't want to say, but for their own benefit. Something feels off in this section. I have read it a few times, but I'm not understanding what's wrong. Still, I will scrutinize it more. I will include this when I understand it in more detail. But for now, it's okay because I think it needs to be done by March 8, 2023 or 2024 for NASDAQ. At least, there is another issue with this $1 thing, which raises the question. If, for example, they don't get a reverse stock split or it's not in their favor, does pursuing this matter? Because that would mean they have already been delisted and moved to OTC. So, what's the point of holding an annual meeting for NASDAQ? Who knows, if it doesn't work in their favor, maybe they'll cancel it. And Randy Marion was updating her website. As you can see, she is giving it a somewhat outdated personality. It doesn't look modern, but you can sort it according to your preference. Right now, there are 38 and 3 listed here. I understand that this is a good indication of how much production has been done so far, or at least what is available for Mullen or Randy Marion. So 38 are currently listed here, and 1 is not there. So it's only Class 3. It seems that the judge has granted Mullen an extension because they had applied for it, but they didn't actually disclose it, and there's no need for them to do so. However, in implementing this, it seems like they want to make a difference. So, when they file their actual complaint, they'll have to redline the real issue, whatever that means. I assume it's just to highlight any difference between the original and duplicated complaints, and they have to do this by December 5, 2023. So that's pretty good news. We'll gather more information on this next week. Maybe there will be even better news there. And one more thing, I just want to share with you that Mark Basile. I've sensed that many people are talking about him because he's talking a lot. In it, he mentioned that he has retained a new client. And then, as I hinted before, he said this new client would serve an early Christmas gift by dealing with their toxic lenders. So it seems like everything is pointing to Mullen, as I mentioned before. Many retail investors wanted him to go against toxic lenders, especially if the company wasn't acting on it. So he cut off communication with all those retail investors. So if you connect the dots, let's assume that Mullen hired him himself, as I mentioned before. So who knows? We'll just have to wait until next week to see if more good news comes in. But looking at the options side today, almost $36,000 calls and 70,000 puts were bought. According to the information, it was a bit mixed. But overall, according to some strike prices, 80% of today options were bullish. And looking at the calls, it's evident that their attention was around January 5th. As you can see, 2,000 were bought at a $0.50 strike price, and then similarly for January 19th at the 50-cent strike price. So there's quite some hope for that. And obviously, looking at the puts, buying anything below the $50 and $10 strike price wasn't particularly beneficial, Indeed, let's take a look at something intriguing when it comes to these stocks. It appears that 1,000 stocks were purchased for a strike price of 50 cents each, set for January 17, 2025. Now, this becomes quite fascinating when we delve into it. However, let's see what Schwartz has done. When it comes to shorts, he has returned 2.2 million shares. Perhaps he didn't anticipate the market moving in this direction. It seems that overall, shorts may have incurred significant losses. However, approximately 2.2 million shares have been returned, of which 14.15% were shorts on free floats. In total, 50.01 million shares have been shorted, and strangely enough, the average cost to borrow is decreasing. It's at 44.4, and this is mostly due to new retail investors entering the market. As I mentioned, the cost to borrow is simply a result of supply and demand. So if more retail investors are entering, especially if they are new, they might be lending shares without realizing it, thus reducing the cost to borrow, particularly through interactive brokers. Short availability indicates that about 2.2 million shares can still be shorted. There are some fascinating things happening. People were quite excited today as the stock closed in the green after a long time. Today was quite a rapid day. As I mentioned, it bounced from the 52-week low, creating a new one, but I wasn't expecting this massive rally. Let's see what the next week brings, possibly with updates on potential lawsuits, maybe with Mark Basile and Mullen hosting an event or webinar. Guys, that's all we have for you today. What is your opinion about Mullen stock? Get involved and let us know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching.